This is a CWC Cook with Color mini toaster oven that I got at Marshall's. Let's check it out. Counter cooking. No kitchen? No problem. I saw this at Marshall's a few weeks ago and it looked really interesting to me. And at first I didn't buy it because I wasn't too sure about it. But then I saw it again and it was pink, which matched my Dash mini toaster oven. That one's pink also. And I thought that this one would be just a bit bigger than the Dash mini toaster oven. So I thought I might as well give it a try and see how I like it. And to be honest, I've been using this almost every day for the past few weeks. I've been really testing it out and, figuring out how it works and all its little quirks. And I really like this appliance, so I thought I would film this video and we could talk about it. Now it is a bit bigger than the Dash mini toaster oven. If we put them side by side, you can see the comparison. The Cook with Color is a little bit taller. It's also a few inches wider. The other difference is that it has a 60-minute timer versus a 15-minute timer on the Dash mini toaster oven. And you could also adjust the temperature. The temperature that is indicated on the CWC mini toaster oven is up to 450 degrees, and it starts at minimum, then it goes to 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, and 450. That's what's indicated on the CWC toaster oven. One thing that was very disappointing to me with the CWC toaster oven was the cooking area inside. So this is what the cooking area inside both of the ovens look like. And with the Dash mini toaster oven, you actually have more of a clearance from the rack to the heating element. There's about 3 inches from the rack to the heating element. And with the CWC toaster oven, you don't have 3 inches between the rack and the heating element. There's actually less space. So some of the pots or pans that I would use in this smaller one don't work in this one with the rack. However, I have found a workaround for that. Both of these mini ovens come with a cooking sheet. So this is the one that comes with the Dash mini toaster oven. And if you put it in, you see that it fits on the rack. You cannot use this without the rack. However, this is the one that comes with the CWC mini toaster oven. And if I take the rack out, this slides in where the rack was, and this is actually lower than the rack. So if I use this toaster oven with this pan in place, I can actually use cooking items that are taller than I could use with the rack, if that makes any sense. So this actually gives you another 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch of space between the bottom of this pan and the top of the heating element. And if we look at the actual racks, we could see that the CWC toaster oven is about 1 inch deeper and about 2.5 inches wider. The rack for the Dash mini toaster oven is 5 3/4 inches wide by 5 1/8 inches deep. And the rack for the CWC mini toaster oven is 8 1/8 inches wide by 6 3/8 inches deep. So we'll say it's about 6 inches by 8 inches. Most of the cookware for toaster ovens is around 7 by 9, which is too big to fit in this toaster oven. This is a ceramic baking dish that I found in Daiso. It was only around $3 or $4, and I thought it would be a perfect fit for the CWC toaster oven, and it is. It's about 7 inches wide by 6 inches deep, and you can see it's a perfect fit for this oven. If I use the rack, it comes within 1/2 inch of the heating element on top. And if I use the tray, there's a lot more clearance. There's over 1 inch of clearance. So that's what I normally do. I normally use it on the tray. Another item that fits in this toaster oven is this glass Pyrex. I've not used this. I'm not really a fan of glass Pyrex. I've used this glass baking dish in my Hot Logic and my Sabbath Heat, but in the past I had a larger glass Pyrex explode on me in my oven. So I'm really hesitant to use glass Pyrex, but someday I will test it in this toaster oven. But as you can see, it is a perfect fit even with the rack there. And then without the rack, you do get more clearance. And this is probably how I would use it. If I was to use this Pyrex in here, I would put it on the metal rack. This is an all-clad stainless steel mini soup pot, and it fits perfectly in here when I use the tray on the bottom. And there's another mini all-clad pan. I got these mini pans at Marshall's or Home Goods, and it fits perfectly in this toaster oven also. Now these pans don't fit in the Dash mini toaster oven because it's not wide enough, but this toaster oven is wide enough so they do fit. So I am finding that this toaster oven is much more versatile than the Dash mini toaster oven, and it's only a little bit bigger. And this is a baking dish that I use in the Dash mini toaster oven. It's like the largest baking dish that I could fit in that mini toaster oven. The only way I could fit it in this one is by using the pan on the bottom, because if I use the rack, it's up too high and it touches the heating element on top. And of course, this toaster oven is really good at making toast, and I do that by using the rack. I just put the bread right on the rack, and it's really nice because it's wider, so I could use wider slices of bread. Whenever I make toast in the Dash mini toaster oven, I always have to like cut the end off the bread or fold it up because I don't usually use the square breads. I usually use the more oblong breads. One thing I definitely need to talk about is the temperature control on this mini toaster oven, because it is not accurate at all. And all of the temperatures run about 100 degrees cooler than actually indicated. So I always use this on 450, and 450 on this toaster oven is actually about 350. Now the Dash mini toaster oven, that cooks at about 400, 450, and that's more accurate because it's really hot and really fast and it burns the top of everything. I've not had a problem with this toaster oven burning the top of anything, so I don't have to worry about covering it with foil like I need to do with the Dash mini toaster oven. But this basically only goes to 350. And I have used a temperature sensor to gauge the temperature, and it was always lower than it should be. So what I tried first was baking something at 350, and I had it in here for an hour, and after an hour it like wasn't even cooked. I was like, what is going on? So that's when I decided to test the temperature, and I was like, well, it's not even 300 degrees in this oven, so what's going on? So I raised the temperature to 450, and then it baked normally like it should have at 350, and I tested the temperature at 450, and it was really about 350. So it doesn't get as hot as it says on the temperature dial, but that does leave it open for interesting possibilities with the lower temperatures. Because if you've ever tried to make meringue cookies, those you want a really low temperature, or if you've ever tried to kind of like dehydrate something or make some kind of like crispy kale chips, sometimes you want a really low temperature for that, and this potentially could be good at that. I haven't tried that yet. I've basically just been using this to make toast and to make quick meals. And I've also been figuring out the timer. So for example, if I want to make some toast, I know that I only need about 6 minutes on this timer. Like I really had to do a lot of trial and error to figure out how much time it needs at the highest temperature on this oven. If I want to make some oatmeal, I know I'm going to put it in here for maybe 15 or 20 minutes. Again, I'm going to have to play with it more to really figure out times, but for the most part, I usually set it for more time than I think it needs. And then if it's done ahead of time, that's great. I take it out and then I let this mini oven continue to run, or I just force the timer to off, which is probably not the best idea. But I love the fact that I could just set the timer and pretty much not have to worry about checking the oven, because I do work from home and sometimes I'll get involved in a project or I'll be on a conference call or something like that, and I will completely forget that I have something cooking. And I love this because it shuts itself off. And I have not burnt anything in here yet. Even if it cooks a little bit longer than it should, it has never cooked to the point of like burning anything or causing any kind of danger. So that's one of the reasons why I love like these mini appliances. I just plugged the toaster oven into my EcoFlow River Pro portable power station, and I'm gonna put a piece of bread in here to make some toast. Look at this bread. There's like a giant hole in it. This is sourdough bread from Trader Joe's. It's my absolute favorite. So I normally put it in far enough that it is underneath and above the heating element. And I make sure it's on 450, and I set it about halfway between off and 10. And this is my favorite bread. It's Trader Joe's San Francisco style sourdough bread. If you are a fan of sourdough bread, definitely check this out if you haven't already. This is authentically sour sourdough bread. Sometimes you get sourdough bread and it just tastes like normal bread, but this has a really nice tang to it, a really nice sourness to it. This is my portable power station, and we are pulling 592 watts with this toaster oven, and we're at 88% power. It was at 89% when I plugged it in. So as we could see, it's cycling off. It just cycled off how much power it's pulling. Right now it's pulling 0. And then we're back up to about 600. It just finished toasting. I'm gonna be really careful, stick my hand in here to grab it. And look at that beautiful piece of toast. It's really hot. Here's one side. And here's the other side. I believe the bottom side toasts a little bit more than the top side, but I'm perfectly happy with this. I'm using up some leftover baked beans that I had in my refrigerator. And I cut up a hard-boiled egg to put on top, and I am going to enjoy this as part of my breakfast today. I should also mention we are now at 84% on this portable power bank, so it used 5% of the power. And that's my review of this CWC mini toaster oven. I hope it was helpful for you. If it was, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos with this mini appliance. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.